Aaron and Paul. Over the past 2 months, we've been building our own camper plane in Fairview, Oklahoma with the team at Bearhawk. And this week, we're headed out to Airworx in Brewton, Alabama to help with the final assembly of our engine. This engine has a bit of history, and a couple of alarming things came up in this maintenance, but we'll get to that in a bit. Aaron and I have never seen the inside of an engine, so buckle up as we're about to get our hands dirty.
Public been delivered a local time in 8 p.m.
Rise and shine, ladies and gents. We're headed to Alabama. Got a 1-hour drive to Brewton, Alabama. Why are we going out to Alabama right now? Well, we're headed out to help put our engine back together.
So I feel like this engine has an interesting story. It was involved in a low speed impact. The plane ran into a hangar, basically. After the prop strike inspection was done, everything was good to go and within parameters. It hasn't been flown since. I think there were some question marks around the actual status of the engine. They're going through the entire thing. They have it all pulled apart. They did say they found some things that it's a good thing we didn't fly on this engine as it was. So I'll be interested to hear what those things are. But also, Chris is like expanding a ton right now. So this will be fun to see all of his expansions, all the new facility, and all the new things that they're doing there.
We had plumbing blow last night. Machine shop got flooded. So
dang, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Of course it would happen last night.
Perfect timing. Oh my gosh.
No big deal. What we're gonna do today, put y'all over here where he's gonna be assembling the 580. I think y'all are gonna be flying behind.
No way.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome.
Then we'll get y'all in the machine shop this afternoon.
Chris, thanks for having us.
I know, seriously,
so
thank
fun
you.
To be here.
Yeah, y'all come on in.
So that's Chris. He's the owner of Airworx. Chris has like grown up around aviation. He's been in the Marines. He has his single engine, multi, high performance. Also, he flies helicopters and is a CFI for helicopters. So basically, this guy does everything. You think of anything plane related, this man is the legend with aviation. And he's been so nice to have us out here so that we can be a part of this full final assembly process. And so I think that's what he was saying we're gonna do today. But first, let us go show you around Airworx.
All right, so Chris took us on a tour and showed us how an engine is repaired from start to finish. The flow of the engine repair basically breaks down into 8 steps, with the first step being receiving and disassembly.
Basically, the engines will come in a crate from the customers. We don't do any removals or installs yet. Before we start tearing it down, which we've got one in front of us, another Bearhawk engine here, it'll get a receiving inspection done on it. It'll be charted out. Pictures will be taken of the configuration of it. And then Dave will go in the office and he will actually do a receiving inspection form.
When the engine comes in, they take photos of literally everything. So while they've been putting our engine together, they've been looking at the photos they took at the beginning and they're like, oh yeah, they had this accessory on this engine, or they had this weird thing with this engine or whatever. And so it's like this great prescriptive way for them to put everything right back together.
Yeah, and what it is, you get engines that are configured different ways for different things. This engine here, I can tell you a piece of the inner cylinder baffle is different than other engines. So the reason for pictures is to make sure we put that inner cylinder baffle back where it is.
And it can save in the future. You're like, okay, well, this was already damaged when it came in, or
yes.
The other thing is like, okay, well, this wasn't that way when it came in, and now we need, so it's
correct.
Good both ways.
And that's part of the receiving inspection. We do what they call a hidden damage inspection to make sure that the freight company didn't have a wreck on the way with it in the truck, break something, that the mechanic putting it in the box didn't damage something. You know, there's a lot that goes on.
So you've received the engine, it's here on the stand, you start breaking it all apart.
Correct.
Where does it go from here?
So all the small parts will end up going in totes. Hardware goes in trays where we keep everything together. Like this engine was purchased as a core for a Bearhawk build. A lot of the parts on it aren't going to be used on a Bearhawk aircraft. So those parts, basically an oddball oil sump, extra oil coolers, specialty baffling that came out of another aircraft that won't be used on a Bearhawk, that stuff gets discarded.
After the engine is visually inspected and documented, they now take it out to hot wash.
So we come out here, we've got several different ways to wash parts. This tank here is a hot wash with what they call caustic solution in it. It's only for ferrous, steel parts. Basically it cleans those really good, gets rid of the sludge, oil contamination. It can help get rid of any rust, surface rust that may be on the part. All of our non-ferrous, aluminum and magnesium parts go in this tank. This is a 25 horsepower hot wash tank, like a big dishwasher.
Oh, wow.
It sprays the stuff with a 25 horse motor. It's got a rotating table. It's got spray arms. It'll get just about everything off that can be seen by the naked eye, take some of the paint off, but doesn't get all of the paint off. We have this other small tank over here. It's what we call a final clean tank. It's just for final cleaning parts after they come out of the machine shop. And then of course we've got a tank here is for doing some manual cleaning of parts, just mineral spirits in it. Small parts that wouldn't make sense to put them in a big vat.
So you really step everything through.
After being all washed down, they now take the engine inside to the blacklight inspection.
So now we're in the machine shop where all the dirty work happens.
Yep, this is what we call the dirty shop. This is where the parts come out of the vats. They come in here. This is where the metal flies, per se. This is where all of the machine work happens. After the case is processed through the stripper, this is what it looks like. This is the penetrant inspection where you're actually looking for cracks.
Got it.
This is similar to WD-40, except it's got an ultraviolet dye to it. We rinse it off, run it to a developer, we dry it, then we use a black light on it, which kind of brings out the crack. You're able to actually see any kind of crack that may be there. And that tells us if we got a part that's structurally safe.
Once the engine's finished with inspections, it's now time to refinish all the hardware and bring things back into spec.
Then when we begin the machining process, he'll take a crankcase down on this machine and he'll surface the case halves. As you can see here, you see how smooth this case half is?
Yeah.
The case halves to get surfaced like that, which brings the diameter of these holes closer together. Makes them like a football. Well, that's where you have to take it, you bolt your case back together. It goes down here to the line boring machine and you bore them back out so they're round again.
Oh, so fascinating.
So as these engines run, being completely opposed, they're trying to blow each case half off. They're trying to blow the cylinders off. So you end up getting fretting on the crankcase here and they're just rubbing the whole time.
Okay.
When they start doing that, you start losing your dimensional integrity out of them. That is when you end up having to surface and reline bore.
That makes sense.
Then from there, it goes out to a chemical tank. It goes to what they call a chemical conversion, which gives it this gold color. Well, it's called iodine, which is basically a corrosion inhibitor, but it really helps your paint stick to it. Even though we don't paint cases, we use Cerakote on all of our cases, so it doesn't do a lot for us. It does inhibit corrosion. It does help protect it some.
Cerakote's something that's been used in the automotive, like racing industry for a very long time, correct?
Racing and firearms.
That's one thing that I loved about being here, meeting Chris, seeing what they're doing here, is they're taking these newer technologies, these things that aren't necessarily used super widely in aviation quite yet, and they're starting to implement them on their engines. Like this will promote cooling, it still gets a beautiful finish on the engine, and the longevity will be a lot longer than paint. Like our paint is chipping off on other areas that were painted 300 hours ago, but our Cerakote won't.
Then we start talking about internal steel. Say it came in, I've got my guy here, he's actually grinding a crankshaft now. It would come in, it gets cleaned like we talked about, comes in, gets mag particle inspected, gets all the dimensional inspection done on it to see if it needs to be ground. If it's determined it does have to be ground, he ends up getting the crank. It goes over here on this machine. That is what we grind the crankshaft journals undersize with. A Lycoming crankshaft, you can grind 3 times. It can go standard, it can go 3 thousandths, go 6 thousandths, and go 10 thousandths undersize.
Wow.
Continental, 1 time.
Really?
So for the last few years, we've been using a vendor to do nitriding, which basically case hardens the outer surface. It helps the crankshaft not wear. It makes it stronger. Crankshaft's hard, lasts a lot longer. Over the last year, we have been having a system built for us. We've got it in place. We hope to have that operating here in the next 3 weeks.
Man, and that's a huge
Yes.
like machine and undertaking for this shop to have in-house. Really what that does for all of us is it will decrease the wait times on these cranks. Like they're gonna be able to do it right here in-house and make sure that they're within your spec.
Correct.
You're gonna have full control over the entire process now.
And that's what we're looking at right now. An engine overhaul is taking 12 to 16 weeks. Once we have our crankshafts where we can nitride in-house, we're looking to do overhauls in about 4 to 6 weeks.
No way. Like where else can you find an overhaul in 4 to 6 weeks? That's wild.
Yep.
All right, things are back in spec, and now it's on to painting.
Once it comes out here, Daniel's our chief painter, does a great job. All of the parts come into the paint booth, and he will end up prepping all the parts, taping the parts, masking the parts off that do not need paint on them. He'll Cerakote all the parts in here, let them dry. Then from this point, he depreps when he takes all the paint or all the tape off, make sure the Cerakote looks good. Once that's done, it comes back over into the build room, which is where we started at, where the disassembly is.
I love how there's such like identifiable flow here too. Like the engine moves through this entire process and it's just step, 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 gets to paint, and then just comes right over here. Like it's a very visual flow.
He actually brings them over on a prep rack. This is an engine that he has painted. All the parts that come in here and get laid back out on the assembly rack. Everything's laid out, that way we can inventory parts, make sure we have everything here before we start the assembly. At that point, it goes back into the build section. The technician building is the same technician that builds the whole engine. And then we end up with a completed engine, as you see back on the stand there, ready to go on the dyno.
That's amazing. And so from here, then they lay it out for final assembly, which is where we're starting on our build.
All right, Jonathan, you gonna put us to work?
I'm gonna put y'all to work.
All right, so what are we starting with?
I'm gonna show you how to put them rods on. When you're sitting in the plane, this is number one. You gotta think of it like sitting in front of you.
Oh, that's the propeller down there.
Yes, sir. You've probably sat in the plane 100 times and never visualized what this is.
Honestly, never even tried to. This is awesome. So fun. I like getting involved in this.
There's no kind of feeling being in that thing, knowing you put your hands on everything.
Yeah.
One last one. One last one.
What's next?
I put this gear in, and then I gotta put all the plugs in it. Then we put the oil squirters in it.
You just said oil squirters. I didn't even know an engine had that.
What I've learned is the systems I learned in private was this amount compared to everything else in it.
John's putting on the sealant right now that actually seals the two crankcases together. This is a pretty important part because if this is wrong, then our crankcase will just like leak a bunch of oil. So this is when you let the professional do the work. Okay, name all the parts of the engine you see.
John, help a sister out.
You know the ones we worked on so far, don't you?
Yeah, I got the rods.
What did we put the rods on?
The crankshaft.
That's it.
And then this was the new thing called the crank, the cam crank?
Camshaft.
Camshaft.
Nice.
I knew we got a C. Good work.
It feels weird to just like wail on your engine.
Yeah.
Alright, here at Airworx, they run all their engines on a dyno before they send them back out, and we get the treat of seeing one on the dyno. I think it's about to get noisy.
We had some issues.
Really?
It did have some issues. Jonathan actually took it apart, and when he went to take the cylinder base nuts off of it, all the small nuts were finger tight. I think the shop that this engine came from, they just did all kind of strange stuff. I mean, it's experimental, so he can do what he wants to do, but like it was sealed with a non-approved sealer. Yeah, it was in good shape. I mean, like I say, the alarming thing was the cylinders held on by eight nuts, and 4 of them were loose.
Just to like pull the magnitude of this, those bolts that were holding on our cylinders, if those had come off, our cylinders could have come off of our engine. So the thing that powers our engine could have just, to be blunt, like exploded in midair. To find out that all 6 of our cylinders were finger tight. Like it wasn't just one cylinder, it was all 6 of them had half their bolts just finger tight. Yeah, gosh, I don't even want to think about it anymore.
Honestly, I think this also just shows me that, well, a few different things. One, the more you grow in your knowledge and the more you know, the more confident you can be in your equipment and your plane, but also like to make sure that you don't just like give your plane to anyone that has a certification, but people that like do things in excellence.
Man, they're making it way too easy for us here. It's towards the end of day 2 right now, and we're already putting the rocker covers on. This engine has come together so fast. I think on Monday they're gonna be test firing this thing on the dyno, but look at this.
We're putting covers on. And I'm actually able to screw this one in without John's help. Let's go.
We still need you though.
Yeah, we still need you, John.
Like a couple accessories up here, and then the oil pan comes on, and I think the air distributor goes underneath that. Just a couple more things to bolt on.
Hi guys, thank you. I'm so sad we're leaving already. I felt like we were starting to become all friends.
It was amazing how Chris just had everything laid out for us, and Jonathan had spent so much time on our engine, and it was all prepped and ready. So right when we got there, we just got to put the entire thing together.
When I took my private pilot's license, the one thing that I was so nervous about was systems and being asked about systems. And so coming here, I was like, bruh, I just know I got a 6-cylinder engine. That's all I know. But don't ask me where the cylinders are. Just kidding. I know where the cylinders are, okay?
We've talked about it quite a bit, how I feel a lot of new innovation is starting to come in and be injected into general aviation. Chris was one of those guys I get that from. He's like innovating his processes there to make safer, better engines, and he's pulling technologies from the automotive industry. I don't know, I just love seeing the investment in the company, the investment in new technologies, and his like focus on making safe, reliable engines. Just a really cool guy, really cool shop. That was an awesome experience. That was really fun.
I feel freaking honored that we got to be a part of it and got to be a little bit of a fly on the wall and also hands-on and a tiny bit of the whole Iran process.
Yeah. And Chris, you have great shirts. We love your shirts.
Yeah, forever repping Airworx. Woohoo! Would Chris hate me if I said his shirts were cute? Officially been hired by Airworx, your newest employee. Wow, the 2nd newest employee.
I like this because now whenever we're monitoring the engine in flight, we'll be like, oh, that's your cylinder. Oh, what's it doing? Why is it acting that way?
Can you say that right to the camera to Ty?
Yeah, please.
The only question is stupid is the one you didn't ask.
Definitely the hardest one.
Well, yeah, when you put it on backwards.
Wait, it was backwards?
Yeah, put it on backwards.